Okay, today we are starting off with the sixth chapter. This is the program governance, and we are almost, getting to the end of it. After governance, we will be going on to the life cycle, which is the longest chapter. But anyways, this is the last chapter, and then we will have some little bit of talk about other things. But the main crux is these five domains. So program governance is again a very important structure or very important domain, because if you remember from PMBOK, or from if you study any of the standard program management or project management or portfolio management, first chapter actually talks about the interrelationship of all these things and the governance. How does it get translated from organizational level down to the project level? So in between we get the program, the portfolio, and all these levels are there. So we have to talk about what this governance is. I hope and I wish that you somehow have some idea of what governance means. Although we did talk a little bit about it earlier, but I would like to hear it from you. What do you understand by governance? Yes, please. Who would like to answer me? You can raise hand. Yes, please. If anyone wants to answer that, what is your conception? I'm not really talking about the program governance. I'm talking about your conception about the concept of governance. What is governance? Shaul, okay, Hashim.
Sir, my concept of program governance is the administrative processes and policies, which I don't know may or may not may involve the change control board or change control committee, and something about what do you call it? Organizational process assets, which is basically documentation related stuff. So this is my understanding of program governance.
Okay, okay. And what do you think, Shaul?
Setting governance is mainly is the setting up the organizational what do you say? Hello.
Yeah.
I'm getting disconnected.
No. We can hear you. It's all right.
Sir, mainly, see, any project governance, it's like it's a framework with the organizational set of rules and regulations, okay, to control or to oversee the organizational assets from the set of from decision making till the realization. Okay, how we are getting organized. This is the governance.
Okay. One thing I don't understand: why are you both referring to organizational process assets? Why are you referring to them?
No, when you are doing any project management, any project governance, or any governance in the sense, it should have a reference to either a country, either an organization, or either a state-run company.
Okay.
You need to have some kind of framework, right? Some management framework. Okay. Then only we can do any decision making, any escalation process, anything. The governance which will come into that procedure, responsibility or accountability will come in that.
Right. Okay. But to understand governance, we must first understand that we have to look at it from the organizational perspective, and even if we can look at it from even higher perspective, that would be even better. Maybe national perspective, maybe international perspective. So, what is governance? if you look at it and towards a government of a country, government, the word comes from governance. As the level gets higher, we need to set up macro level checks and balances through which we control whatever happens in that whole country. Government cannot get involved into micro level management of everything, but they must form certain rules and regulations, laws, policies, legal obligations by which they bind the whole system. That provides the governance structure or the framework. So at national level, government is only successful if they have good governance, meaning what? That their check and balance system is so good that nothing goes out of control. So it is transmitted downwards in the same essence it was created in the beginning. So whatever laws they form, naturally in governments we have got parliaments which are responsible for creating the laws. And once those laws are created, they are always advertised or they are legalized by the highest body, maybe the president of that country or the prime minister or whomsoever is, not really, prime minister is not in the governance mechanism. Basically, this is generally whatever kind of management that country is having, system of governance they are having. So the top level person, maybe the king or the queen or the president or whomsoever. Yeah, Shalomir.
Sir, governance is in one statement. If you want to say that it's a framework to control and oversee any activity which we are taking, any project or program. Exactly. Is it right? It's like a framework to control and oversee how it is.
Exactly. But this is very important.
But within the set of certain.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. No, but anything with has some kind of limits, right? Any program governance, if you say, yes, on top of it, with reference to the particular program or particular organizational, right?
I'll get to the program level, but first we must understand the higher level. Whatever the governance structure of that country is supposed to be depicted in everything which is being done in that country. All the departments, all the provinces, all the departments and setups, everybody in that country would be following the same law, right? So if everybody is following them and there is a good check and balance system existing and nobody goes out of the line, then we call it good governance. Now, how does our department have that governance further translated into their department or their province or whatever their system is? Naturally, the overall governance of the nation is the guiding line. Every department is supposed to abide by that and ensure that everybody is governed through that mechanism and nobody betrays that level. Everybody abides exactly by that, and then they form further check and balance system for their department. So at their departmental level, they will have another layer of governance, and that would be for better functioning, good functioning of that department. But naturally, the bigger umbrella is the national level governance. Under that national level governance, all the conditions of the national level governance are abided by the department, and that department further imposes its own governance mechanism through which it puts the checks and balance system underneath. And similarly, if that department has got sub-departments, every sub-department may have its own governance structure or framework. And that would be further elaboration of those policies and procedures. But generally, all these different governance structures, which are, uh, they will be governed by the upper governance structure. So sub-department governance structure would 100% agree with what the departmental governance structure is, and departmental governance structure has to 100% agree with the national governance structure. If you understand this philosophy, only then, and everything is working accordingly, then it is going to be a good governance. You see, the person who is making the law, the person who is enforcing the law, who is making decisions, they all have to be on the same line. If the person enforcing these laws is not working according to the governance structure and people are not being checked for what they are doing, then probably this is an example of a bad governance. So whole machinery has to be in sync with each other. The governing body itself, whomsoever the president or whomsoever is who is issuing the order, then the parliament or whomsoever created those laws, that body, the policing mechanism, whomsoever is checking, enforcing those things, maybe at departmental level or whatever level, and the people who are responsible for making decisions, that is imposing penalties on those who do not abide by those principles. So all of these people, if they are abiding by that, then we can enforce good governance. Any one part of this machine, if it is not working, it will straight away drown the whole system into bad governance. That is why usually in many countries we do not have good governance, because one of the systems is not behaving right. Right? Okay. For example, a very simple example, if there is a law that everybody should wear a seat belt, but nobody is checking it, right? People are not abiding by that rule. Police is not checking it. Then naturally, this is a pure example of a bad governance. But if police is checking it and judiciary is not punishing those people, and ultimately police, all the effort the police has put in catching those defaulters, they are not being punished, again the purpose has been defeated. Again, bad governance. The people who made the law, if they made the law not in the right spirit, and it is not exactly what it was required to be, they have made certain arrangements to facilitate certain groups of people, then again it is a bad governance. So basically all of the machinery has to be working in that manner, and once that governance structure exists, then every subsequent level may have its own governance structure, which, as I said before, which abides by 100% the upper level governance structure, describes in further detail the lower level rules and regulations and imposes them onto the lower levels. And then, like a big umbrella, and then we are having a smaller umbrella under it, and then further smaller umbrella, and so on. Now, if you talk about the organizational project management, whatever the governance framework of the organization is, that is the supreme governance mechanism. That is organizational governance. The quality standards, the other policies, I'm not talking about optional things. I'm talking about mandatory requirements. When you talk about organizational process assets, you are mellowing down the essence of the governance by itself. Because organizational process assets is a very mellow term. It talks about generally all the policies and procedures and rules and regulations and standards and all that, which may or may not be mandatory, right? So you have a lot of choice in organizational process assets. You have to get out of that, and you have to look at the laws, the rules, the policies, procedures in vogue in the organization. So those rules and regulations, still you have to watch it in a little more detail, that I have to select only those things which are mandatory. Optional items may not count. What standard are you using? that may not matter. That may not be counted towards the governance structure. But exactly what quality standard we are supposed to be meeting, what safety standard we are supposed to be meeting, this is what you call it, which has been mandated. This has been, established that this organization will be ISO 9000 certified, is a 9000 certified, and therefore they have to upkeep this level of quality, this level of safety, and whatever. So all those policies and procedures which has been mandated, which are mandatory to be used by everyone in the organization. Otherwise, organization will fall into the dilemma of being called a bad governance structure. That is what is good governance. That is what is the governance structure of the organization. Now, all the operations and functions of that organization, I'm not yet talking about the organizational project management. All the operations, structures, functioning of that organization is governed by the organizational governance structure. But as I said before, every department, every function, every operation could have a further translation of those governance structures. So every department may have its own further detailed governance structure through which it controls whatever is happening within the organization. Remember, these governance structures are mandatory, but they are not micro level. They are macro level. They only describe the broad aspects that you have to be of that standard. You have to be, those things are only described, which are to be checked by through some KPIs, but not at the micro level. Now, translating that governance guideline, that governance framework into actionable points is the responsibility of that team who is actually responsible for doing a certain job. So they will ensure that they are abiding by the basic governance structure, the mandated thing, and whatever optional is there, they are doing tailoring according to that. They are doing pick and choose only on those items which are not mandatory. Right? So governance structure is the basic guideline based on which any plan can be created at any level in the organization. That detailed planning can only be done under the umbrella of some governance structure. Therefore, governance is definitely required for every organization. So this we have talked about an organization, organizational structure, organizational governance framework, and under that framework, we may have sub-frameworks at the departmental levels. Now, in the same organization, we do have a change-related initiative, many change-related initiatives going on, which are not part of the operations, are part of the functions. So they are called organizational project management. As we understand that a projects drive change. If you have to bring any kind of change in an organization, that can only be brought up through projects. Operations cannot change anything. Functions cannot change anything. Departments cannot change anything. They have to undergo a project. Whether that project is done under a portfolio or a program, that is another story. But basically, projects, programs, and portfolios are change-related initiatives. The change is brought in through them, and the basic unit of bringing the change, the lowest unit of bringing the change, is the project itself. So that's why we call that projects drive change. So if that be the scenario, whomsoever is responsible for the organizational project management portion of the work, not the whole organization, but the change-related initiative, organizational project management, whomsoever is looking, that has to be there has to be a translation for OPM level governance. OPM level governance. How the governance framework will be translated on change-related initiatives for portfolios, for programs, for projects. So those guidelines, that guideline, mandatory guideline, will be provided by somebody who is controlling the whole show, the OPM. And based on that guideline, so there is an OPM umbrella of governance under the organizational governance. Then we may have the portfolio, Portfolio may have its own governance structure. Naturally, it has its own purposes. So considering those specific purposes of investment decision making and all that, it will develop its own governance mechanism, and it will try to control the projects and programs accordingly. Then every program, for programs also, there will be a program governance framework created. For projects in general, there will be a project governance framework created, and all the projects and all the programs are supposed to be abiding by those governance structures. So they are not just the policies and procedures; they are mandatory policies and procedures which you have to follow. There are many other policies and procedures, instructions, and many things which may not be mandatory, which may be optional. Those may form part of the organizational process assets or project management system or project management information system or whatever you want to call it, right? But once you have this under umbrella, then every project will have some governance guidelines available before the project can be started. A project would abide by those governance guidelines, and then will create, then he will also have the project management system invoked. Project management system will tell him that what are the flexibilities he can avail, right? What are the various kinds of tools he can use? Maybe there are hundreds of tools, but governance says that in our organization we will only be doing agile projects, and therefore only agile tools can be used. So all other tools are no more valid. No more valid. May they be part of project management system or whatever, but they are no more valid. They cannot be applied. Out of the many agile methods, now you have a choice and you can pick and choose out of them. If you are doing that, you are abiding by the governance framework. Therefore, the project governance, when available, would be developing a project management plan exactly in accordance with the governance framework. Governance framework is necessary for creating a management plan. So at program level, program governance framework would be there, and according to that, I will be able then to prepare a program management plan. A program management plan cannot be created in isolation. It has to have a governance guideline and framework, because this whole thing is all about good governance at upper level. Ji Hashim.
So slides is not changing.
I'm not changing any slides at all. I'm just talking.
Oh, okay.
Right. So, how well did you understand what I am trying to convey? Ji Shalomir.
Okay.
Sir, it's a framework. Mainly, it's a framework. Okay, where you need to consider the mandatory practices, functions, or any kind of process in your organization, as well as the environmental factors. You need to consider mandatory thing for a project or a program to run.
Exactly.
Which includes each and every procedure. Maybe to start from the initiation till the closure, you need to follow the governance method, governance framework.
Just hold on. It is not necessary that you would be provided micro level instructions. You will not be provided micro level instructions. It is not from
high level framework.
High level. Only those items, and why those items are provided to you. Those legal instructions are provided to you. Those rules and laws are provided to you, because we have to align with the upper level governance, as if the whole organization can remain good governance. So this is execution of good governance, which we see in this translation of governance downstreams, right? So this will provide a strong mechanism, a strong controlling mechanism, which will ensure that nothing ever happens in this organization which will let the organization down. Got it?
Understood. Thank you.
Wonderful.
Yes, sir. Understood. Understood.
So, armed with this information, we can now start talking about the program governance, because this was the basic concept. So here we have three main topics to be discussed in program governance practices, program governance roles, and program governance design and implementation. As far as the governance practices are concerned, there are 12 different governance practices shown here. Program governance practices, then program governance and vision and goals, program approval, endorsement and definition, program success criteria. That's exactly what I was saying. Success criteria, KPIs, they are actually macro level procedures to check whether everything is going fine or not. This is policing. So you must have some, critical success factors defined at the top level, as if we can say that our organizational strategies are being satisfied properly. Then even if you go down, even at program level or whatever level you are trying to manage a project or a program, you the people who are in the executive level, the sponsors, or the people who are in the governing bodies, they would be having certain key performance indicators defined. Those key performance indicators would be established based on certain best practices, and those key performance indicators will actually portray whether the project or the program is performing well or not. And remember, I am not talking about the progress report coming from a project or a program. I'm talking about other sources, other means by which I can analyze and understand if the project is going well. Maybe I can look at the level of satisfaction of a project employee. That would indicate, that would be a KPI that would tell me that something is wrong in the project. I'm not surgically going down to find exactly the reason, but I would be indicated through the key performance indicators something is wrong somewhere. The people are generally not satisfied in this project. The stakeholders are not really happy about this project. Maybe the delivery, this project is continuously delivering late, or is over spending, or things like that. So these are some of the indicators which would be caught by this governance mechanism, and based on that, there will be a check and balance system employed, and that will ensure that the relevant project or program improves itself, and it doesn't pass through this check without getting the things correct. So for program purposes, what is the success criteria? How do we really say that this program has performed its job? Meaning, what program is basically meant for delivering the benefits. So how those benefits would be authenticated that they have done their job. These benefits have really been achieved. There have been success in realizing those benefits. So what is the criteria? The criteria has to be established beforehand, and that criteria is through the governance mechanism. Then program monitoring, reporting, and controlling. Naturally, that has got its own role. From the program, some reports and returns are coming up, but we cannot only rely on those reports and returns. We have to rely on other KPIs, as I was saying. So those mechanisms would have been by the governing bodies, whomsoever at the program level, the governing body, whichever has been established, those people would be, maybe they are employing some consultants, maybe they are having other checks and balancing, and also they are also viewing the reports and returns coming from the program. And based on all this information, they create an image of how well a program is performing. Then program risks and issue governance, that is also a very critical thing. These both are critical. Risks and issues both are critical, and therefore we have to put up very strong mechanism down there that what is the level at which we should be cautioned. The risk should not increase, our issue should not go beyond this level. So that is a mandatory requirement. Maybe it is due to the better functioning of the program, or maybe it is the requirement of the next higher level. governance. Then quality governance is there, change governance is there, governance reviews are conducted. This is apart from the progress reporting and other things. These governance reviews could be, you might have hired uh, some consultants or subject matter experts to help you assess the governance mechanism of the program. So they would be coming and they would be reviewing or inspecting the program, and they would be submitting their report. So this could be in that way. And another important thing is the periodic health check. Health check is just like putting in a thermometer into a program and seeing how well it is performing, right? So this could be random, this could be already scheduled or whatever. So there are periodic health checks which are conducted. You see, as a thing grows bigger, there is difficulty in micro level checking. So we let the micro level management of that thing to be handled by the respective manager. So if it is a program, the program manager is responsible for micro level details of the program itself. But the higher level management has to have some other way of comprehending how well this program is performing. You cannot only rely on what the program manager is telling you. So you should have a third eye available. So these health checks, these governance reviews and all that, these are the structure which we have created around the program to put a check and balance system. Then we have got program component initiation and transition. That is also a very good checkpoint. How a component is being initiated, how is it being transitioned, what kind of problems are there. So these are the places where I have to keep a close eye. And then naturally the program closure is a very big indicator. So all these places, all these 12 practices may have to be watched with great care if we want proper program governance to work. Then as far as the governance role is concerned, we have got, you see, we have got the program sponsor. For as we used to have a project sponsor for every project, every program also has a sponsor, right? So there is a program manager managing the program. There might be a program director sitting up there. That program director might be looking at only this one program or maybe responsible for more than one program. But he is the boss. The word sponsor may confuse you a bit, but sponsor is a term used for a single person who is ultimately responsible for this program, who is accountable for this program, although day-to-day working of the program is the responsibility of the program manager. It's the same definition we use in project management. So project manager is responsible for day-to-day working of the project, and overall accountability of the project is with the project sponsor or the project director. Then even on top of the project sponsor, there is a program steering committee. That would include a number of stakeholders. Naturally, these stakeholders will be relevant to the program. So these key stakeholders would actually be making the decisions along with the sponsor. So this is the whole team. The sponsor is also part of the steering committee, and this steering committee is actually making all the decisions relevant to the program. So the governance of the program would be controlled at this level. Then if we do have a program management office, now this is a bit tricky. When we talk about a program management office, it is a little bit confusing. Sometimes we talk about a program management office existing within the program, and sometimes we talk about a program management office looking after more than one program. There are two different scenarios, because a program has got a lot many projects happening. Therefore, there might be a need to create a PMO within the program. So whatever the case may be, I would particularly like to talk about this program management office as the organizational central body to look after more than one program. So this is again a higher body, and this has got control over the program, and naturally program management office can also play a very important role. Then We, although not the part of the steering committee, but program manager, subordinate project managers, and even other stakeholders, they are all different players in this game. They all are performing various governance roles. But naturally, as I said, the steering committee is in charge. Now, when we talk about steering committee, from the project perspective, generally it is assumed, I will like to link Prince 2 with it. Although PMI does not describe what a steering committee would include, it just generally says that there may be some key stakeholders. But Prince 2 is very finely describing that. It says that a steering committee should consist of three entities. The representation of three entities is necessary in a steering committee. One is the performing organization representation. Two is the customer representation. And three is the contractor representation. The people you are outsourcing to, those must be represented on the steering committee, as if the interest of all three sectors can be looked after. Right? Another very interesting thing Prince 2 says is that steering committee would not be a democracy. Although we'll talk to everyone, we'll take suggestions from everyone, but the final decision will be held with the person heading the steering committee. And who should head the steering committee? Not the contractor, not the customer. It is always from the side of the performing organization. Because we have been awarded this contract, we are responsible for doing this project, and therefore we must control the steering committee. So it should be a senior executive from the steering committee, from the performing organization. Generally, if there is no other senior executive available, program sponsor is considered automatically to be the chairman of the steering committee. But in case, because we can have more than one people from each one of these entities, there could be at least three, but there could be maybe two people from each area. So we can have 6 people or 9 people or 10 people or whatever. So they will be headed by one representative of the performing organization. And if nobody else is available, the program sponsor will take on. So in all practical cases, program sponsor is in charge, and program sponsor has the final say about everything. So the whole governance mechanism is actually lying here in the program steering committee, and all other people have got various roles. Program management office is supposed to ensure at the micro level that the reports and returns coming from various programs or projects are actually in accordance with the governance structure. Program manager is also supposed to ensure that his work is in accordance with the governance mechanism. Project managers and other stakeholders, so everybody will ensure that ultimately the good governance would be achieved. So these are the various program governance roles. Then we have got the program governance design and implementation. We will talk about that later. So after this discussion, having talked about these basic concepts, let us now define the program governance. Because I did understand that if we did not talk about these things before, you still would be misinterpreting the program governance. That is exactly why I have given you this general introduction about things. I hope no slides are moving or not. Okay. Right. So program governance is one of the performance domains that enables and performs program decision making. All the decisions, the executive decisions about the program, how the things should actually happen, the change control decisions or whatever, the higher level decisions. I'm not talking about the decisions which are taken at the program manager level. No, we are not talking about those. These are the decisions which are beyond program manager, and these are the decisions which are escalated to the higher body, and higher body is naturally the program governance body, our steering committee. whatever you want to call it. So program decision making at that level establishes practices to support the program and maintains program oversight. You must have established the success criteria, the KPIs and all that for all those 12 areas in the governance. All those 12 dimensions should be checked. Those are the places which really have to be ensured that they are performing well. Program governance comprises the framework, functions, and processes by which a program is monitored, managed, and supported. Monitored, managed, and supported does not mean that we are trying to do the micromanagement. At a higher level, through those KPIs, through those critical success factors, we are able to get a clear picture how well this program is performing. I am not micromanaging. I am not advocating that the governance people should start poking their nose into inside affairs of the program. Let program manager do his job. He is doing a beautiful job. Let him do it. But we just want to have an eye on the things as if we know that whatever we are being told is correct. So, monitored, managed, and supported in order to meet organizational, strategic, and operational goals. See, this governance structure is designed to support the organizational strategy and operational goals. So, it automatically comes under the organizational governance. Maybe through portfolio governance or OPM governance and then organizational governance. Ultimately, every governance is under the organizational governance. The focus of program governance is the delivery of program benefits by establishing the systems and methods by which a program and its strategy are defined, authorized, monitored, and supported by its sponsoring organization. So, who is the sponsoring organization? The performing organization. So, this performing organization should have control over things. They should know how well the things are going. And as I said many times earlier, that you cannot simply rely on the report coming from the program manager. That is not enough. You should have your own eyes also open. You can't blindly trust whatever is being, because program manager may have a limited vision of the thing. You are looking at it a holistic view. So you must have an eye at the holistic view, maybe through a subject matter expert or a consultant or some other means, but you should have some check and balance system in place. A program governance framework, when well designed, provides practices for effective decision making and ensures the program is managed appropriately. Program governance is performed through the actions of a review and decision making group. So at the governance level, there must be some kind of a team of consultants or whomsoever. Those should be able to review whatever is happening in the program. They can come and check. They can review the progress. They can look at it from different angles. And decision making group that is charged with endorsing or approving the recommendation. So by dint of that, all the change requests regarding the program are also coming to them. So they are actually deciding the fate of the program. So all the recommendations, all the change requests and everything regarding the program are under this authority, this steering committee. Program manager has management responsibilities, right? Program manager, now this is a very interesting thing. Program governance is not held by program manager. When the program governance was being established, program manager may have been consulted and he may have advised certain things, but program manager is not responsible for the governance of the program. Program manager is responsible for the governance of the projects working under him. Therefore, a program manager is supposed to develop a project governance mechanism for projects working under him. I hope you understand. Whatever the governance structure of the program is, in alignment with that, in accordance with that, the program manager will develop a project governance framework for his subordinate projects. So project management has management responsibilities as far as the governance of the program is concerned. And it is to ensure that the program is run within the governance framework which has been provided to him, which have been legally assigned to him while managing the day-to-day working of the program. So program activities are the responsibility of the program manager to perform. So he cannot govern them. Some higher body will have to be governing them. Similarly, the projects running under the program will be, will be governed by the program. Therefore, all the change requests coming from those projects will be decided by the program manager, because program manager is sponsor for all those projects. I hope this point is clear to you. Program manager should ensure that the program team understands and abides by the governance procedures and the underlying governance principles. So whatever mechanism has been established, whatever framework has been established for governance of the program manager is responsible to let everybody know to abide by those legal requirements. So program governance may also refer to the framework, functions, and processes by which a program team monitors and manages the components that are being performed to support the program. Now, governance of components. Components are projects, sub-programs, or even the program activities. These all are components of the program. So, the responsibility of the governance of those components come under the program manager. So, he has to ensure, it is part of the program governance that he has to ensure that the components are working exactly in accordance with the program governance. And therefore, to ensure that, program manager has to develop a project governance mechanism. Governance of components often achieved through the manager and team responsible for the integrated outcomes of the program. Such responsibility may also be called as component governance, because project is a component. So project governance, sub-program governance, program activities is a component, sub-program activity governance. So all of these governances would be under the responsibility of the program manager. Ji Shaul.
Sir, can you explain again what is this governance of this component governance? What do you mean by component?
It is exact. Component means what is included in the program. Program is made up of what? Program is made up of projects. Program is made up of sub-programs or some program activities. These are the three types of components which exist within a program. If we believe that there are only projects, then project governance could be written there. But it says component governance because project is not the only possible component within a program. A program could have projects, it could have sub-programs, it could have program activities. So all of these three types of components could have their own governance framework created by the program manager. So program manager is responsible for creating the program, whatever component there is, the governance mechanism for that component is to be supplied or provided by the program manager. Hope you understand that. When I say component governance, I mean project governance, I mean sub-program governance, I mean program activity governance. Hope that is clear.
It's clear, sir. Thank you.
That's why in the last sentence it says, such a responsibility may also be called as component governance. And I have further described it that what is component governance? It is the project governance, the sub-program governance, the program activity governance. So this governance is provided by whom? A program manager. But program governance is not under control of the program manager. It is with the program sponsor or the steering committee. A level up, a level up. Okay. Program governance is impacted by organizational governance. Now, the next higher level could be organizational governance, or maybe it could have gone through. In the last sentence it says typically portfolio governance is the hierarchical level of governance where program investments are authorized. So maybe on top of program governance there is a portfolio governance. On top of program governance there could be organizational governance, or maybe there is another level, that is a OPM governance, and then there is the organizational governance, or maybe there is an enterprise governance as well. So every upper governance level is a bigger umbrella, right? As we go down, as we drill down, governance has to be there. You see, you can't have laws made and no governance structure for various departments. That is why we do have bad governance in many countries, because there is no governance mechanism for running various departments. The overall governance of the country has been designed. That is just visual thinking, nothing more than that, because it is not being translated downwards. It has to be translated downwards. The judiciary should have its own governance mechanism. The police should have their own governance mechanism. The parliament should have its own governance mechanism. And they all should be properly and thoroughly governed by that. Nobody is above the law. If you consider anybody above the law, then it is a fodder for bad governance. I hope this point is clear. We'll move on to the 6.1 figure, but before that, as I've already explained, within portfolio structure, portfolio governance, supporting functions and processes are linked to the programs through portfolio governance. So portfolio, how the portfolio has to be managed, somebody has to decide who is over the portfolio level. Over the portfolio level, the executive level will decide the portfolio governance, and portfolio will be running the portfolio. The day-to-day running of the portfolio will be responsibility of the portfolio manager. So portfolio will be accordingly structured, and he will provide certain portfolio governance support functions and processes as if all the programs and projects under that portfolio produce the desired results. And actually, under the portfolio, there might be a program governance mechanism or a project governance mechanism. Generally, program governance mechanism will look after the project level governance within that program only. But there might be certain projects which are not under any program. So who will provide governance for them? That would be then portfolio. For standalone programs that are outside of the portfolio structure, then they will be reporting directly to the organizational governance. A governing body provides governance, supporting functions and processes to programs, including governance policies, oversight, control, integration, decision making. So if it is not under portfolio, then somebody has to be the sponsor of that program. So that body will then be responsible. Naturally, if there is no link there, then we have the organizational governance directly linked to the program governance. The type and frequency of the governance activities are determined by the portfolio governance and governing bodies. We are talking about the program governance now. So the type and frequency of the program governance activities are determined by the portfolio, because portfolio is the naturally next upper level, the next bigger umbrella. The portfolio provides governance policies, oversight, control, integration, and decision-making functions and processes to programs within the portfolio structure. I hope now the things are falling in place. now you are able to understand what this governance really means. Look at this chart. This is the governance hierarchy. Portfolio governance, then we have program governance, then we have subsidiary programs, the sub-programs, then we have projects under subsidiary programs, then we have subsidiary sub-programs, then we have project under that. So every upper level is responsible for the governance of the lower level. This is how this game is played. Got it? Are the slides moving right now? I hope your message is old, Archie. Okay.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. My message is very old.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It's getting more.
Right. So we have come.
Suhail sir, one question.
Yes, please.
Here in this governance hierarchy picture which you've shown, okay, just see this governance policies and practices, governance oversight and support, governance control. Okay, those things are for a program or portfolio.
Okay, whatever level of governance you are looking at, that level is defined here. So what is it says? Portfolio is coming from portfolio to program. So this is portfolio is providing what? Program level governance. So program governance, governance policies and procedures, governance oversight and support, governance control, governance integration, governance decision making is provided by the portfolio for program governance. And what program is giving back? Program is giving back to for program governance to portfolio. They are reporting the performance reports. Change requests are going to portfolio for approval. Escalated issues and risks are going to the upper level. A benefit capability delivery that is going up there. And same science you apply to program to sub program, program to subsidiary program. Now we are talking about subsidiary program governance. Subsidiary program governance is created by program, and now the governance policies and practices regarding sub programs, the governance oversight and support regarding that sub program, governance control, governance integration, decision making is that level, right? So whatever level you are looking at, a level up is responsible for the governance. So governance is provided by one level up. Are you okay with it? Ye Shaul Shaul, are you okay with it? Okay, let's move ahead. Okay, now let's talk about the effective program governance. How can we be effective in our program governance? Effective program governance supports the success of a program. You know, if we have effective, what do we mean? Effective means that what we say is what we do or perform. We are effective in doing whatever we are doing. So as far as the program governance is concerned, if you are doing effective program governance, then your programs will be successful. Simple as that. Ensuring that the goals of the program remain aligned with the strategic vision, operational capabilities, and resource commitments of the sponsoring organization. So this our governance structure should ensure. Program governance should ensure that compliance with the reporting and controlling process required to support this alignment is enforced by the program governance domain. And who holds this program governance domain? The next higher level. May it be the program sponsor, may it be the portfolio, may it be the organization, whomsoever is under program is under, that body is actually holding the program governance domain. Then the approving, endorsing, and initiating the program and securing funding from sponsoring organization is again the responsibility of this governing body. So according to the program governance mechanism, these things would be facilitated, and that's how you are going to be effective in your program governance. Establishing clear and well understood agreements as to how the sponsoring organization will oversee the program, and conversely the degree of autonomy that the program will be given in the pursuit of its goals. That is it. Autonomy, how much autonomy you want to give. You see, first of all, when we have power, we do not want to part with it. Let the program manager do his job. Give him at least that level of autonomy that he can comfortably perform. You cannot perform all the duties of program manager sitting at a governing level. If you are governing the program, you cannot run the program by yourself. The management of program is the responsibility of the program manager. So that level of autonomy, that degree of autonomy has to be given to the program manager. But over that level, that is the macro level, you should have your checks, balances, and controls in place. Then facilitating the engagement of program stakeholders by establishing clear expectations for each program interactions with key governing stakeholders throughout the program. So in general, although the dealing with program stakeholders is the responsibility of program manager because it is a day-to-day working, this is the management work of the program manager. But as a governing body of that, you should be able to facilitate the engagement of those stakeholders. Because at program level, this becomes a very difficult job to deal with stakeholders because program in itself is such a huge thing. Your stakeholders are also very influential. So at program level, at level program governance level, you should be able to, ensure that program manager will be comfortable dealing with the stakeholder. You should facilitate that to establish the clear expectations for the program stakeholders. Then creating an environment for communicating and addressing program risks and uncertainties to the organization, as well as opportunities and issues that arise during the course of program performance. Remember, we are only being concerned about those things which will impact the organization. The internal running of the program is still responsibility of the program manager. He is responsible for communication, quality, risk, and everything happening within the program. But we are only concerned anything which is beyond the control of the program manager. Those cases will automatically be escalated to the governing body. So governing body is only concerned about that level which they have to decide. Therefore, they are getting themselves prepared for that. Providing a framework that is aligned with the portfolio and the corporate governance policies and processes for assessing and ensuring the program is compliant. So you should always be able to validate that this program is doing well. I am confident about it. The program governance body should be able to give their verdict about the program, that is it being compliant or not. Each program may need to create a particular governance process or procedure, but it should be aligned with the organizational governance. As we said, that program manager will create some governance mechanisms for project governance, for sub-program governance, and so on and so forth. So that should be ensured that any governance mechanism created by the program manager is in alignment with the program governance and the organizational governance ultimately. The basic principles of organizational governance must be followed at all levels of governance. Designing and authorizing the assurance process, and when required, executing reviews and health checks of the program progress in delivering its expected benefits. Various reviews types are used, including phase gate reviews, other decision point reviews, and periodic health checks. You see, what are the places where program sponsor or the program board can interfere with the program? We call it management by exception. So which are those exceptions where program will actually handle the outputs of the program or where they will interact with the program? That is when a major accomplishment is made by the program, a benefit is yielded, benefit is transitioned, or maybe when a phase within a program has finished and the next phase has to start, the governing body will come in and they will approve it. So this is their exception. They have made an exception to come down there and physically approve the output or the benefit of that work. So this is management by exception. Phase gate review concept is more clarified in UK based system, which is called what do they call it? Gateway review something. Their Office of Government Commerce (OGC), which has developed a system that is a gateway review system. I think that is the name. So it is made for programs there, and I personally like the structure the UK government has for their government programs. They have got this mechanism in which there is a proper phase gate review process, enabling the organization to assess the viability of the organization's strategic plan and the level of support required to achieve it. I hope this is self-explanatory. So you see how important these things are becoming. You understand what are the various levels of governance and who is doing what, who is responsible for what kind of governance. For effective program governance, you also need to be selecting, endorsing, and enabling the pursuit of program components, including project, subsidiary programs, and other program activities, and making decisions to transition between phases, terminate or close the program. Now, what does it say? You see, the very interesting point, no matter you are a portfolio, you are a steering committee, whoever you are, it does not say that they are going to ask you to terminate a project within the program. A component within a program is not the concern of the governing body, because that is a concern of the program manager. If a project or a sub program is not performing as he expected, he is the governor of that. He can put in his governance mechanism there and he can ensure that projects behave the way they should be. But if program does not behave according to the governance structure, then the decision to kill this program altogether, close down this program as a whole, along with everything included, this decision is with the governing body. This is the governance decision. This is to be decided by the steering committee or governing body sitting up there. Effective program governance is especially important in environments that are highly complex or uncertain, when it is necessary to respond rapidly to outcomes and information that become available during the course of the program. Some emergent situation occurs in the program. There must be some KPIs or indicators through which program governance would know that this emergency situation has surfaced due to the complexity or whatever, and therefore they have to intervene. When the program governance has to intervene, that means they are managing by exception. This is an exceptional situation where the program governance has decided to jump in. Otherwise, they will give full autonomy to program manager to perform his job. Program governance makes it possible to clarify the organization vision, facilitate alignment of the program with the organization strategy, enable the periodic balancing of program demands with the current organizational capability. So they are not interfering with the program is doing, but they are linking the program with the upper level governance, the strategic alignments and this and that. If the program is properly linked upwards, right? Downwards, what it does is the problem of the program manager, and that is the autonomy he has got. But if he does not perform well, we have the power to kill the program altogether. Governance participants are able to monitor and, as necessary, authorize or limit changes to the activities performed as part of a program. Governance decision forums focus on facilitating the adaptive realignment of the program's approach to enable the delivery of intended benefit. You know, as I said, this is management by exception. I said that we do not want to micromanage the program, but at the same time, when there is an alarming situation, as we just described in the previous slide, and program has to interfere, program has to make certain decisions, this would be catered as management by exception, because we are against micromanaging. We do not want to interfere into the normal working of the program, but if that working is somehow going against the higher organizational or program governance framework, then probably we have to wake up and we have to go down and see where they are doing something wrong. If the intended benefits are not being delivered and the things are consistently losing track, that is where we will intervene, and this intervention may result in the culmination of the program as well. Now, the roles and participants performing program governance activities are described in section 6.2, and we'll talk about each one of those roles later. Program governance provides an important means by which programs seek authorization and support for dynamically changing program strategies or plans in response to emergent outcomes. So governance provides that much leeway to the program if they have to make certain changes within the program, change of strategy or whatever, so that could be made possible. So program governance is not going to interfere with the normal working of the program. Program can work if it is abiding by the program governance, and it is not underperforming or doing things which are counted towards bad governance. Then they are free to do whatever they feel like. So a program within a portfolio is likely to be governed within the framework of the portfolio, and if it is not under a portfolio, then naturally whatever level up there is, maybe the strategic level, so that would be taking care of that. Yeah, Ashim.
Sir, it's a prayer time now. Can we take short break?
Of course, why not? We can have a 10-minute break and then we'll get back. Thank you for reminding. Ji, Shahid, you want to, do you want to say something? Shalomit? Okay, then we have the break. We'll talk after the.
I don't know, sir. From today, a lot of interruption from the beginning. I'm not able to hear your voice. I didn't. I don't know what has happened today. No problem. I'll listen to your what do you say, the recordings.
Right.
Okay. I have one doubt on 6.1. That diagram you have shown. No, the 6.1. Maybe slide number something. See, so the governance policies and practices, governance oversight and support. Okay, those things we need to frame for in any project or any program, or how is it?
Yes, of course. You have to provide the general guideline for that, right? You are not, yeah, exactly. Maybe you have got the policies and procedures already available. As I said, out of those policies and procedures which are to be mandated, which are more important, those things have to be earmarked. Maybe you have everything written down already, but you have to take on those areas which are to be mandatorily, complied with.
Okay. See, just want to clarify something. See, we have some kind of organizational project management functions, right? PMO office, rules and regulations. Okay, where we will have a overall for a PMO purpose. Okay, for it's not like for a portfolio, not for a project, not for a program. Okay, but now for each and every project or program, we need to frame this, or we can follow the org level records standards.
You can follow the organizational thing, but this governance body has to be there to ensure that to this specific environment or situation, those rules do apply. So there may be some small 2-3 points which they amend and they implement them to this circumstance. Otherwise,
okay, this thank you very much. Another thing is how it is linked with the exams, PGMP exam. This particular performance domain governance.
questions about governance?
No, questions about governance. Yes.
If you like, I can show you the questions. You can do the paper and you can try it out.
Okay, now maybe time you have or not, I don't know. You can send it across to us. We will do it and we can submit to you tomorrow.
Of course.
Or online.
You can stay put after that,
okay.
after the class.
Good, sir.
Keep doing that.
Okay, we'll do that also. Okay.
Yeah.
Sir, but you will give an access to your exam. What do you say? That portal, exam sample exam portal.
Actually, I have built that into the system, and I can take the exam right during the class. But I have no mechanism of testing.
During the class only. Okay.
Yeah, during the class.
Okay.
So I can give you the exam of every
Good.
chapter during the exam, and you can try it out.
Okay. Thank you. Okay. We can start, sir. I'm ready.
Okay. Hashim, are you there? Hashim? Hashim is not yet back. Okay. So, should we start or not?
Sir, let's wait for another 2 minutes. He'll be joining, inshallah.